What is up, guys? Sumedh here. I just wanted to make this quick video to talk about the number one thing that you can do when you're going through a breakup. If you're going through a breakup right now, my heart goes out to you because I know what you're experiencing. I might not understand the actual situation that you're in, but I know the emotions that you're experiencing. I know the pain, the frustration, the depression, the sadness, the anger, the emotional volatility that you're experiencing right now. I know that you go through these periods of times where you're okay and then you're alone in your bed and it hurts. It's like physical pain stabbing you and you can't bear it anymore. I know that you go to sleep and you dream about this individual, and for the next 30 seconds to a minute after you wake up, you think it's real, but it's really not. Like, I know, it's crazy. It's amazing that your mind can even do this to you, and it's crazy to think that you're going through it. Now, that being said, there are some things that you can do to get over a breakup, but there is one thing in particular that I recommend for a lot of people to do if they're able to do it, because it helps expedite the healing process. You know, there's still a process that has to be underwent, but the process is expedited, if that makes sense. There's two things that happen when you go through a breakup. Number one, your future is not what your future is anymore. You had all these plans, these visions, these goals, these expectations, right? It's the expectations that you had with this individual that are now set to be rewritten. You have to recreate and re-engineer and restart your plan for the future. And that's really difficult to do. On the flip side, your past that you've had with this individual, all those memories and emotions, all the things they said to you, you know, I love you, I care about you, I'll never leave you, you're going to be with me for the rest of my life, I want to make you mine forever. All these wonderful things that they said with good intention they're not panning out to be true. So you might ask yourself, did they really even mean that? Especially if there's infidelity involved. Were you even real with me the whole time? How could you do this to me? Why did this happen to me? So you're stuck with the pain of the past and the pain of recreating the future, and then you're in the present where you're just sandwiched by all this negativity that you're experiencing with all your emotions all over the place. So the number one thing I'm going to tell you right now when you're going through a breakup is you can't think your way to positivity. You can't think your way out of the negative emotions. And if you think that you can think your way out of this, you might be able to bury some of the pain. You might be able to logically rationalize with yourself. But if it's a traumatic breakup and a very difficult breakup where you love this person with a lot, you know, where you really cared about this person, chances are you're going to end up damaging your ability to permanently form organic and healthy relationships if you don't heal properly. You must heal properly. Just like you break your leg, you can't just walk it off and take it easy. It'll actually damage the bone and it'll fuck up the healing process. It's the same thing with this. You want to put your leg in a cast and put it in a new environment. When you're going through a breakup, you want to put yourself in a new environment. And you might question what I'm saying, but let me explain. There are so many emotional triggers in your life that are tied to this individual. The bed that you sleep in, the couch that you used to watch movies on, the kitchen that you used to cook in, and the dining room table that you used to eat dinner at, you know, with that person. The workplace that you might work at. You know, even if you see this person on a day-to-day basis, they're an emotional trigger to all the emotions, all the memories, and that, you know, feeling of loss in your life. They remind you that you have lost something that you cared about so much. And you need to rid yourself of these emotional triggers in order to really start the healing process. You cannot heal from a breakup if you see your ex every single day. And there are situations where you might see your ex every single day, and that is difficult. There is a reason why workplaces want no dating your coworkers type policy. They have these policies where you can't date coworkers because they know if, God forbid, if something happens and you fall out of your relationship, which statistically speaking, most relationships don't work out. Behind every successful marriage is a string of relationships that didn't work out that allowed that person to learn, hey, I want this in my future wife. So a lot of relationships don't work out. That's the truth of it. You know, when you get in a relationship, you're statistically more likely to fail in that relationship with that person. And there's a healthy way, I should say, to fail. But there is also a discipline that you need when you're exiting a relationship. So many people are so quick to jump into relationships, but they're not quick to implement discipline and implement the right things because they're thinking emotionally rather than logically. And we are wired emotionally. We're emotional beings. So let me say this. What I'm talking about is putting yourself in a new environment and ridding yourself of all the emotional triggers that this person has, you know, really invest in your life. That scarf, the photos, the social media. Stop stalking their social media. The number one thing that I recommend for people to do is to travel to a place that you haven't been to before. Right now, I'm in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's beautiful, it's warm, it's tropical. The beach is a walk away. It's amazing. And I remember when I went through emotional trauma, one of my buddies said, hey, look, we're going to a tropical place. We're going to go to Miami, Florida, right? And it's not to romanticize new relationships. It's not to talk to the women there because I understand Miami is that place to kind of party and do these things. The drugs, the alcohol, none of that helps. It actually doesn't help at all. It makes you more sad. But what I was able to understand while I was going to this place was life isn't so bad because I was constantly challenged by the new experiences that I had. So when I'm in San Juan, Puerto Rico, not that I'm going through an emotional process right now, but there are so many new things in this area. Like there's new people. Everybody speaks Spanish here. Even though I do speak Spanish, my Spanish isn't the best Spanish. So I have to think a little bit before I speak. There's new areas and new places and new venues and new food and new faces that I can see on a day-to-day basis. This new influx of information is going to distract me. The number one thing that you can do when you go through a breakup is to distract yourself. It is to engage yourself in something else instead of fixating and obsessing over the breakup process. And a lot of people isolate themselves and they do the opposite thing. They sit there and they reflect and they just bathe in the pain of all the things that have happened negatively in that relationship instead of transporting themselves to a new environment. And you might say, I can't do that. I have to work. I have these commitments. Look, I understand what you're saying. Traveling isn't always cheap. It is affordable. There are affordable ways to travel. But let me tell you this. I was unfunctional for a period of 2 months after my breakup. I had bills to pay. I had things to do. At some point, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be sad anymore. I just can't. Especially if you're going through a long period of time, like where you've been with this individual. You know, they say that it typically takes half the amount of time that you've been in the relationship to heal from it. So if you've been in a relationship for 2 years, it's going to take a year for you to heal. For me, I was like, I can't do that. I can't be unfunctional for a year. It's impossible. I have things to do. What are you telling me? So I had to expedite the healing process. And I was unfunctional for a period of 2 months. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to implement this healing right now so I can be more functional. I have to put the cast on and put it in an environment and be immobile for a period of time in order to expedite that healing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I traveled and I found all these new people and these new experiences. And I didn't, engage in sexual relationships after this period of time. But what I did was I really understood what I needed to do. It helped me just distract my mind. A lot of times when people go through breakups, I tell them to sign up for new classes, go to new places, do new things that you haven't done before because it's going to distract and engage your mind in a healthy way, and you'll be able to form organic relationships and reflect on the breakup through that period of time. You have to distance yourself from the thing that caused you trauma. You don't just keep it around. And whether you realize it or not, the couch that you used to sleep on and used to watch movies on with that individual, the bed that used to have intimate relationships with that person, everything to do with that person, you need to cut that out of your life. Traveling frees the soul up. And warm tropical locations like this, like San Juan, Puerto Rico, it's amazing for you. The water, the wind, the heat, the people, the culture, everything is going to transform your way of thinking, and it's going to allow you to realize, look, there are 4 billion people of the opposite sex that I'm going to be interested in. Whatever way you're swinging, there are 4 billion people out there out of the total 8 billion people out of the world, And if you're bisexual, more power to you. There's 8 billion people out there. There are so many people out there. You're going to let one person ruin your entire life, cause you to feel those thoughts? Trust me, I've been there. I've been in a position where I didn't want to continue on. I just didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't bear the pain anymore. And it sounds silly looking back at it now, but in that moment, I was so strong and confident and emotionally stubborn in my resolve to commit some actions that would hurt me out of my depression, out of my sadness, out of my feelings of helplessness. Let me tell you, you got to let go of this person, and you have to find the way to let go of them in a healthy manner. Don't grab the bottle. Don't go for the drugs. Don't have mindless sex with individuals that don't actually bring value to you in your life, because all you're going to do is compare them to the person that you were with. I'm telling you, it's not what you need to do. What you need to do is free your mind, free your soul, allow yourself to experience new circumstances. When people come to areas like this and they don't speak Spanish, they're forced to speak Spanish to implement new tactics and new desires and new mindsets to allow them to move through society. When you put yourself in a new environment, you're subject to that environment. You're not in control anymore. You're not in your bed anymore. Everything is different. And that new stimuli that you feel in your mind is going to allow you to heal subliminally, indirectly. And when you heal through that process, when you go to these places and you remove yourself from all the negativity that was that relationship, because even though you love that person at this time, now they have become negative. Now the situation it's been spoiled, you know what I mean? Like a steak that was good before is now spoiled. It's not good anymore. So you have to remove yourself from that situation in order to re-enter that relationship and re-enter that area in your life again with calm, collected, you have to be calmer. I hope this is making sense. I hope this helped anyone. My advice to you when you're going through a breakup is to pick up everything that you have and just travel. It's to just go places. And I understand it costs a little bit of money and it may not be, feasible for you in a certain degree, but go to a different area, engage in new things. The ultimate thing that you can do is travel, I should say. That's the number one thing that I recommend. But if you can't do that, change your environment. Listen, I'm telling you, I went through it real bad. I had to change my apartment. I had to change the car I was driving. I had to let go of a lot of material possessions that, that I was involved with that person with, because I tied everything back to that person, and the pain that I felt was so great that I didn't want to continue on. Trust me, it hurt me to a degree, and it might be embarrassing to say this, but it hurt me more than people dying in my life. I don't know why, but it was so powerful to me, that relationship, even though it wasn't that long, because when you end a relationship, there is no real end to it. You don't know if this person can come back in your life. You see this person moving on. When someone passes away in your life, there's a tied knot to that. They're not here in this plane of existence anymore, and they're not going to have any more effect on you. And while it sucks that they're not there anymore and it really hurts, they're in a better place. You can resolve these things. You can rationalize these things. But when someone is moving on from you to somebody else, to their own life, when they wake up every day and they say, oh, my life is better without this individual, that hurts the ego, that hurts the mindset, that hurts everything. People don't like rejection. We don't like rejection. That's why there's not that many people in sales positions, because there's more no's than yeses. There's a reason for all this stuff. So you have to understand, when you're going through a breakup, you need to change your environment. You need to change the things that you're doing. You need to completely rewire your mindset, because number one, your mindset, the things that you're doing right now are the things that allowed you to engage in this relationship that brought you these negative emotions. All the emotions that you're feeling right now are a feedback system to let you know, hey, what you're doing and what you have done is not good. Whatever you've done, it's causing us to feel bad. So let's not do it again. Let's not feel this anger, this jealousy, this hate, this sadness, this depression, this anxiety, this stress. Let's not feel these emotions anymore. Let's do something else. Completely changing your environment will allow you to rewire your mindset, and it will change your perception on the entire world and ultimately allow you to heal. I hope this helps, guys.